sorry about that, guys. My video cut off a little short. So this is also the mollusk. This is the animal. It's inside the clam shell. It made the shell to protect itself. And it's called a bivalve mollusk. And usually they are down underneath the sand with a, goes this way, with a foot that digs down and then a siphon that takes in the salt water. So we have octopus, and we have whelk shell, and mussels, and clam, and there's even more oysters and moon snails and razor clams. Those are all mollusks. So I have a little song to remember our mollusks. It goes like this. Mollusk, mollusk, be a friend to me. Mollusk, mollusk, living in the sea. I have a very soft body. I can make my very own shell. I can be a clam or whelk shell and an octopus as well. Mollusk, mollusk, be a friend to me. Mollusk, mollusk, living in the sea. And sometimes when a mollusk dies and leaves its shell, a different kind of animal, like a crustacean, will find that shell. Here's the shell. It's a whelk shell, and it will make it become its home. Hello, boys and girls. I'm a hermit crab. I'm not a mollusk, but I needed this mollusk to protect the other half of my body because it's so soft that I'm certain another sea animal would eat me. So I just moved in backwards and made my home right here. Now, if I grow, will this shell grow? No, I did not make it. A mollusk did, and the mollusk is gone now. So if I grow, I have to go look for a bigger shell. Yes, this shell's not going to grow anymore. The animal that made it is gone. So, be looking for empty shells on the beach and save them for me because I might need them to move my body in when I outgrow my shell. Isn't that amazing, friends, that the mollusk that made the shell, when it dies, its shell becomes a home for the hermit crab? Speaking of hermit crabs, I have just the story for you. A House for Hermit Crab by Eric Carle. Mollusk and the hermit crab, two different kinds of animals. Here we go. Time to move, said Hermit Crab. Do you remember when the hermit crab said, it's too big, gotta leave? I've grown out, I've been too big for my shell. He had felt safe and snug in the shell, but now it was too snug. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the floor of the ocean, but it was frightening in the open sea. What if a big fish comes and attacks me, he thought. I must find a new home very soon. Early in February, there he is. Look it, he found the perfect house, and he wiggled and waggled and moved right inside to see how it felt. Perfect! But, he said, it's a little plain. In the month of March, Hermit Crab came across a family of sea anemones. Yes, would one of you be willing to live on my house? It's so plain and it needs you. I'll come, said a small sea anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab put it onto his shell. Then in the month of April, Hermit Crab saw a flock of sea stars. How handsome you are. Would one of you be willing to decorate my house? He said. I would, said a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit crab picked up the sea star and put it on his shell. In the month of May, Hermit crab came across a family of coral. Believe it or not, my friends, coral actually are animals. The little animals live inside and they make that shell, that hard rock type feeling when you touch coral. That's their protection, okay? But there are little animals inside there. They're actually little stinging animals. We'll talk more about that later. How pretty you are, said Hermit crab. Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful? I would, squeaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, that means carefully, Hermit crab picked it up and put with his claw and placed it on his shell. Oh boy, isn't it becoming just beautiful? In June, Hermit crab came to a group of sea snails. Now, these are mollusks. They're alive and they're inside. They have that shell to protect their body, crawling around. Oh, how tidy and hard-working you are, said Hermit crab. Would one of you be willing to come and help me clean my house? I would, offered one of the sea snails. Happily, Hermit crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell of his house. Then in the month of July, Hermit crab came across a family of, you've got it, sea urchins. Whoa, how fierce you look, said Hermit crab. Would one of you be willing to protect my house? I would, said a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. In August, Hermit crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. Do you remember the name of seaweed before it becomes seaweed in the plankton? Do you remember? Phytoplankton. Phytoplankton turns into seaweed. How dim it is, said a sea anemone. How gloomy it is, said the sea star. How murky it is, said the coral. I can't see, said the snail. It's like nighttime, said the sea urchin. In September, Hermit crab spotted a school of lanternfish. How bright you are, said Hermit crab. Would one of you be willing to light up my house? I would, said one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. In October, Hermit crab approached pebbles. Now, those are not alive, but they actually do talk in this book. Would one of you mind if I rearranged you? Or he actually asks all of them. Not at all, said the pebbles. Hermit crab picked them up one by one with his claw, and he built a wall around his shell. Now my house is perfect, he said. Looks like almost a year has gone by, my friends. Now it is the month of November. Hermit crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Little by little, over the year, Hermit crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another bigger home. But he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the sea star, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. They have been so good to me, thought Hermit crab. They are like family. How can I ever leave them? In December, my friends, that's one whole year. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, a whole year. I've outgrown my shell, she said. Look at that. Another hermit crab came by, and there's Hermit crab with his house and all of his friends. Do you know of a place I could move to? She asked. Well, I've outgrown my house too, said Hermit Crab. Look at how much he has grown. I must move on. You're welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to all my friends. I promise, she said. Then in the new year, January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. Couldn't stay in the shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he had remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house, a big empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain. Sponges and barnacles, clownfish and sand dollars, electric eels. There are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. There's Hermit Crab's shell. And in your package, I have a very plain shell made by a mollusk, really, Teacher Sally, that has died. So now the shell is empty. And I think you have a hermit crab. And you can cut your hermit crab out. You can just kind of bubble cut a little bit. I know the claws might be kind of hard to cut around. And his little feelers on the front. And maybe I'll cut out some of his legs. You guys can do this or have somebody help you if you want. Okay, there's my hermit crab, and I'm gonna put him in the shell. There I go. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. There he is. But his shell looks so plain. Well, inside your packet, I gave you some crabs and some mollusk shells, and you can cut some out. And here I've cut out a little limpet. Do you remember the limpet? That's a kind of mollusk. And I can glue it to my shell, and it can help clean my shell. Mollusks are good at cleaning. Oopsie, mine just came off. And maybe I can put maybe a sea cucumber on my shell. You guys can maybe look up some pictures that, I'm not getting them to glue very well, but use some glue, some things on your shell, and my hermit crab just came out. Or you can just color it, some bright colors, and maybe if you have any tissue paper or little decorations you can put on there. I know not many people have glitter anymore, but if you have some glitter, sometimes I like to put glitter on mine. But you can decorate with different animals or plants. You could maybe make some seaweed too. And hermit crab shell won't be so boring anymore. You can make it plain like this or decorate it. But I'd love to see if you could decorate. And another thing I thought about, boys and girls, is you could get your watercolors and you could paint some things on it. You could paint your shell. That would be fun to do. It's different colors, kind of like Eric Carl did. Some red too. Oh, that turned out more of a purple. My red ended up to be more purplish because I've got some blue mixed in there. Because red and blue make what color? Make purple. So I mixed red and blue and I got some purple. So you can watercolor your shell. That would be fun too. So if your things won't stick to your shell, maybe your caretaker or your mom and dad could use a stapler and get them to attach. But I think watercoloring it would be fun to do too. Alrighty, my friends, get to work with your hermit crab, and he can come out if he needs to find a new home. You could get some bigger circles and make them into a mollusk shell. So have fun, and don't forget to watch French. And I will see you at your Zooms on Thursday and Friday. And Teacher Melissa and Teacher Christy and Teacher Carrie and Teacher Ode will also, and Teacher Christy in the afternoon will be with you tomorrow. So have a great day. Bye, my friends.